Hi, are you usually frustrated with your husband because he just cannot listen to what you say and can't wait to offer you solutions? The moment you tell him a problem, he'll quickly offer you a solution, even when you don't ask for it. Or guys, do you always find your wives very difficult to understand because they seem to be changing their minds all the time? Worry not, you will find your answers in this short video. Hi, my name is David. Welcome to Chapter 6 of the Marriage Notebook. Today I will focus on gender differences. Understanding the differences between men and women will ensure that we do not have miscommunications or misunderstandings that could drain the emotional bank account of each other. Now, if you do not know the emotional bank account, do check out Chapter 2 of the Marriage Notebook. Now, as mentioned in my introduction, if you do not understand the fundamental gender differences between the men and women, you will feel very frustrated, you will feel very puzzled, and sometimes it will lead to big conflicts. Now, we must first realize that the differences between men and women are actually encoded inside our DNA, and it has evolved over millions of years to what it is today. So that is something that is beyond our control. We cannot change how a man's brain works or how a lady's brain works. We are hardwired, and it is not easy to change such characteristics that are embedded into the entire human race. So what we can do is try to understand and to accept these differences. One caveat though, what I'm going to share does not apply to every single person, because everyone is unique. Everyone has aspects of men and women inside us to a lesser or greater degree. So do not take this as something that is fixed for everybody. No. Okay, but generally it applies to most people. Okay. What I'm going to share today are 5 key differences between men and women. Now, of course, there are many more, but I think that these 5 are the most fundamental ones. And these are actually not my own theory, but extracted from books such as Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, Why Men Don't Listen, Women Can't Read Maps, and also Why Men Lie and Women Cry. So these 5 points are extracted from these 3 books, which do have some overlaps with one another. So if you're interested, you can read up more. I would encourage you to do so. You'll find a lot more differences that you'll find, and interesting stories of real couples as well. So let's start with the way men and women make decisions. What is the main difference? Firstly, men are very logical creatures. They make decisions based on logic. For women, their decisions are more based on their current emotional status. Let me give you a very typical example. When buying a new laptop, a man will make his decision based on the specifications that he needs, the price, the brand, the reliability of the brand. Whereas a woman may not even care about the specifications. When they look at a laptop, oh, it looks nice, the color is red, it feels good, and they just buy it immediately. There's no logic to it. It's based on emotions, how the lady feels about the laptop. That's just one extreme example. It may not be like that all the time, but women tend to make emotional decisions. The second difference is the way men and women handle stress. When men are stressful, they tend to hide in their caves. What I mean by hiding in caves is that they need to retreat to a corner by themselves. They need time to process stress and to cope with it. Whereas women, when they are stressful, they talk. They could talk. They have to talk. They have to talk through their problems, even though they are not looking for a solution. But that's the way of coping. So sometimes men and women misunderstand each other. Because a woman sees, when a wife sees the husband retreating into his cave, she feels rejected. But that's not true. It is his way of dealing with stress. It's not rejecting her or he doesn't want her company. Because men do not like to talk about problems. They like to take time to think through things. And the third thing that is different, the third difference is the way men and women approach problems. For men, it's very simple. You give them a problem, they would love to solve it. Which is why whenever a woman talks to a guy about her problems, in his mind, he thinks that the woman needs a solution. And he will provide one to the best of his ability, for sure. So he loves to solve problems. For women, if they have a problem, they will go to their friends, they go to groups. That's why you realize women tend to group together and talk and try to talk through their problems. Okay? They form committees, they form groups. That's the way of handling problems. The next thing that is very different between a man and woman is the way they do things. For example, a man can only work on a single task at any point in time, which is why if your husband is checking his email on his computer and you try to tell him about something regarding the house, he seems to be totally ignoring you. That's not because he doesn't care, but it's because he can only do one thing at a time, just one thing, which is email. You gotta tell him to, okay, darling, I need to talk to you. Can you stop looking at email? Rather than just jump in and say, hey, darling, there's some problem in the toilet. No, he cannot pause or he cannot multitask to respond to you. Whereas women are excellent at multitasking. They are excellent at that. A wife can be ironing the clothes, watching a Korean drama on the TV, and chatting with a friend on the phone, all at the same time and with no issue at all. Okay, so women are great at multitasking, and they tend to assume that guys can do the same thing as well, which is not true, because they can only do one thing at a time. Last but not least, the way men and women communicate is also very different. For example, men are very direct. The way they communicate, the way they talk, the way they write is always using the direct speech, the direct, I want you to do this, I'm feeling that. It's very straight to the point. Okay, so there's no going about the bush. It's straight to the point. Whereas a woman communicates in an indirect manner. Very indirect manner. Let me give you an example. For example, if a wife is feeling a bit hungry about 3 p.m., she would tell the husband, hi darling, would you like to have some tea break or coffee? So the guy would say, no darling, I'm very busy. Okay, that is a potential for a major conflict. Why? Because the wife is feeling hungry herself and she's asking the husband indirectly for food. Okay, that she wants some tea break, she wants some coffee, but she wouldn't say, darling, I need some coffee and tea break. Of course the husband will immediately attend to her, but she says, oh, would you like to have some, asking it in a very indirect manner. So hence, guys always get very confused about the way women communicate, because they are very direct people. If you need something, you want something, you tell me, I'll do it for you. Okay, so a quick summary of the 5 key gender differences: the way men and women handle decisions, the way they cope with stress, manage the problems, work on tasks, and the way they communicate. So the next time you communicate with your spouse, be aware of these differences. There's no right nor wrong. Okay? And there's no way you can change your spouse to think or say things or do things the way you are used to doing. So I hope through this chapter, you'll be able to understand your spouse better. In the next chapter, I will introduce you the theory of ego states. That is another level of communication. How do you communicate properly with a spouse? And ego states are states that you can take. There are various states that you can take on in a communication, which is actually affected by your childhood. So the way you talk to your spouse may be conditioned by your childhood, and you're totally not aware of. You may adopt a few ego states at certain point in times, which you may or may not be aware of. So the awareness of your current ego state is important to encourage healthy communication. I hope to see you soon again. Take care and God bless your marriage.